Hey! Reviews!
Back in here, yo.
Sicario!
Data Soldado.
Soldado. No, it actually doesn't happen at all. So, second film, first one, kind of a sleeper, but apparently enough for a sequel.
Yes.
I felt that it deserved a sequel. So we have Benicio del Toro returning as Alejandro, the semi-villainous seeming character from the first one.
Mysterious.
Actual badass.
Yes.
Yes. So this one kind of makes you feel like it's going to be centered all around him, and then you got a little bit of Josh Brolin putting the team together. You know, he's calling up the band, calling in favors. They're like, hey, we want to go to war, yada, yada, yada. You see that from the trailers. So what you really need to know is, was it portrayed well? Ian, what was your take?
Overall, it started off like, okay, the hype, you're ready for it, it's all good. And then there's a part in the middle of the movie where it kind of loses focus. And it starts kind of jumping all over the place. And it's just kind of like...
We'll talk about that in spoilers.
You kind of lost me. Like there's still parts and you still care about like one or two of the characters and what happens to them. But the overall story is just like, what is going on? And what's the point of all this? Like, you feel like most of the movie, like, what was the whole reasoning of doing all this? It almost seems pointless. And it was just like, you could have done this way better and still showcase these characters.
Yeah, so overall, like, general plot of the film, not too bad. Direction, lighting, camera, all the cinematography, great. The quote-unquote action sequences are very stealthy, very militaristic in the way that they go about carrying things out, right? It's no super long out drawn gunfight. It's like, hey,
we're trained for headshots.
Yeah, they're trained for this, right? So this isn't a film that treats you to these crazy, ridiculous gun battles. It's pretty much like, hey, if you're in the line of fire, you're gonna get shot. It's no Star Wars.
Yeah, we're not fighting out. It's like this. If I'm firing, I'm taking you out.
Yeah, no stormtroopers aren't shooting at you. These are trained professionals. So I actually appreciate seeing something like that as opposed to tons of films that have shooting where they're just like this close to each other and like,
yeah, they miss.
I'm missing. Oh no. No. In this film, you're this close, you're getting double tapped and they're out. Yeah. So
you watched it a couple times. They did double tap. If you realize that in the movie, they went through and they went back. And it was like, let's to make sure that y'all don't get.
Yeah. So I like that aspect of the film. I do have to agree though that there are some moments in the story where I felt they could have presented it or portrayed it maybe slightly different to kind of move the story along a little bit better. Not to say that it draws or kind of drags on. It does a smidge. Yeah. Which it didn't though. So overall though, I don't think it's going to take away from my overall rating. I mean, the first one was definitely not like 5 or even a 4. It was a good film, and I'm going to go ahead and say that this one was good as well. Is it better than the first? I think it fell just a little short.
Yeah.
So it kind of happened into that sequel syndrome. Yeah. Right?
It was like they wanted to get a sequel out, but I don't think they fully figured out the plot that worked best for these characters. Like, it showcased them, but I don't think it really went the right direction in terms of like, hey, this is a plot that really lets them go to work and lets them be loose, and okay, this is what I wanted to see. And they kind of fell short here and there.
Yeah. So for me, I'll go ahead and give it 3 stars. I kind of want to give it a 2.5, but I do kind of like the actors that were in the film. So slightly biased opinion in a good way. So do I think you need to see it this weekend? Yeah, not really. I mean, I'm still gonna go watch Uncle Drew. So what would you give it though?
2.5.
Okay. 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. I mean, I
would say it's a solid 2.5. Yeah. I'm just giving it 3 out of I like the actors that are in it.
I mean, I like the actors too, but the story for itself, I mean, I feel like they saved it from being lower.
Would you agree with this? I felt like if it was a Netflix movie, awesome.
Because you're not expecting much from it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's if it was just like a random movie, it might pull it up, but it's like the trailers and all the hype behind it builds it up so much.
A lot of hype.
That and plus it's a previous movie in front of that, so you're kind of expecting to have expectations for it.
Yeah.
It's straight from Netflix. You've never seen it, and you're like, okay, let me turn this on, and it's just because it didn't really have much of a connection to the first movie, anyways.
Except for the characters.
It's basically its own.
It's the same characters. The cartel is still involved. Go.
Yeah, but it's like it's not even the same cartel. They're just like basically.
No, it is. It's still Reyes.
I guess.
Yeah, the cartel is the same still. So, this is the time where we get into spoilers, because I really want to say a whole bunch. I can tell he's holding back a little bit. Yes. So, spoilers coming at you in 5, 4, no more counting. Let's go. Everybody dies! Oh my god!
Is it a Tarantino movie?
What the hell,
yo?
No, not everybody. So, definitely some, I don't even know if you can call them plot twists. A few of these things they set up extremely well, and you have an idea how it might play out.
Yes.
But you don't know exactly 100% for sure. You can see how they built up with the kid, Miguel.
Yeah. Which they kind of did in the first one where they had the dad.
Yeah.
And they had the kid. The dad kept going to job and having his work, and it was like I felt like the same thing. It was like the same thing they had in the first one, where it's like someone that you didn't really see in the story. You're like, why are they following them? But you know they're gonna be later on.
It's gonna come up, right? So they kind of follow. They have a blueprint that they want to use, and they try to expand on it. It doesn't ever really go to where you think it's gonna go. Like when they're talking about we're gonna go to war, we're gonna do this. I'm expecting things to pop off like ridiculous. Especially in the sense that he's like, I need to get my hands dirty and all this other stuff.
Yeah, he's like, what do you do? He's like, let loose. And he's like, okay. And then it's like one little fire, and then they just like.
I'm thinking I'm gonna see some Breaking Bad style stuff. I'm gonna see a tortoise walking around with a head on it and all kinds of ridiculousness. Tongues, pieces, body parts. I'm not saying I need to see that, but I'm saying he's talking about cartel going to war with each other and inciting that. So I'm expecting to see like flash things. I'm expecting to see like drug pin takedowns, something to instigate each other, not just one kidnapping.
Yeah.
One kidnapping might incite something and then it could boil back down. I'm talking about something that's going to get their blood boiling like, hey, we ain't ending this until one of us is dead type of thing. It's
like the one kidnapping happened and it was like they took the girl, but my thing is like, why do you turn around and bring her right back? It's like, if she's gone, like you just keep her gone. They're going to go to war because they want to know who has my daughter, so they're going to be fighting for it. And then eventually she appears in someone's place, and then there you go. I mean, they're talking about...
That would have been nice. That would have been cool.
Yeah, they talking about going to work and killing everybody, and they kidnap her.
Brainwashing her, making her think she's someone else. That would have been...
Yeah, awesome. The setup they had originally was... it was even smart how they got her out of the house was like... It made it seem like it was a drug bust. They basically rescued her. But even then, they didn't really keep with it.
Yeah.
I was like, you had a good idea, okay? We found you.
You know what they should have done? They should act like they didn't even know who she was.
And that's kind of what they did. They kind of got her.
But
then later on, they kind of just like talked about who you were.
Well, they were like, your abduction. They should have just been like, oh, what were you doing in that house? Why did they take you? Like, they could have turned it around and like been interrogating her to make it seem like she could have been part of it.
Yeah.
And just throw her all.
Just be like, why are you here?
Yeah,
who are you
here?
Why are you in this house?
Why are you with them? Do you know anyone that was in this? And then she could have went on this rant about they could have played it for so many different angles, and in my opinion, that would have made it better.
And my thing too, if you want to make it seem like they were kidnapped, why did they need to drive her back instead of just basically taking her to, the state police and been like, because that's what they would have done in the real situation, is they just would have handed her back over and be like, there you go.
Yep.
That's one of your people. But then the fact that they're driving her in a big, huge caravan, it's like, hey, red flag, we did something.
Yeah. I see what they try to do. It didn't quite turn out, I think, the way they want it. And that's why we gave it the, 2.5, 3 being generous, star rating that we did. So, still good acting by Benicio del Toro.
I mean, his character, it's centered more around him, and they did a good job of, but I think they took away too much of his mystique in this one. The first one was like, you didn't know anything about him. He's just this random guy in the corner, just like, why are you here? You'll figure out when I do stuff, just listen to me. You know, and like that's me as a character. I don't need to know. I understand something happened to his daughter. I don't need to know what happened. I don't need to know more information about him. I need him to be just the shadowy figure that just goes to work.
Yeah, like they keep a little bit of the mystery towards the very end of the film about him. That's all well and good. Again, I still think, like Ian saying, that they could have shrouded him just a little bit more mystery, or just let him do his thing. Like when Josh Brolin comes to his character and is like, "Hey, gloves off, do whatever you want."
Yeah, like
I'm thinking, oh, okay, he's in.
Yeah, I don't even need to see him with a team. I just need him to walk in someplace like he did in the end of the first one.
Yeah,
and just handle it. I needed him to do that, and I'm like, okay.
That's what I thought we were gonna see.
Yeah, him.
I thought we were gonna see him like tactically taking out like the different cartel people, and then making everything look all sloppy like it was them, and then poof, sit back and let it all happen. Right?
Yeah.
Then you set up the third film. That would have been awesome. Maybe at that point, maybe somewhere at the very end, maybe someone figures out it was America or something, and then now there's a new executive order where they got to like clear their names, or I don't know, just literally wipe everyone out. I don't know, whatever. Could have been better. Anything else you want to talk about spoiler wise?
Spoiler wise is like the whole Josh Brolin character too. It's just, I think they made him seem not as strong as he was before. I mean, he still was. Like, he's still in charge. But when I say in the first one, he was just like, all right, I'm doing this. But now it's like you see him having to basically go to command. And, like, telling him what to do. Where before, he was just like, we're doing this. Don't worry about it. We have clearance.
Well, this was more like a different scenario, though, too, right?
Yeah. But the same thing is, like, you get through it, and then, like, they do one thing, and they're like, oh, well, we're pulling back now because we don't need what you're trying to do. And what you're trying to do... and all this other stuff, and it's like... well,
that whole it changes the narrative thing was kind of... I was like, oh, okay. Now you're trying to play on current political state, whereas before, like, the film previously, in my opinion... I mean, you saw it more recently, but in my opinion, the very first one doesn't really play on, like, current politics at that time.
Yeah.
It just kind of sets a standard of, like, what they have for...
like, this is what's going on. This is going on the other side of the border. This is how people are trying to get across. And that's what the first one was. And this one kind of shows, like, okay, this is border crossing. But it doesn't really tie into the fact that, like, okay, I don't need to know the government didn't like the fact that you got tactics. Yeah, clearly, that's why you're there.
Even Josh Brolin's character was like, oh, we'll spin the story and make it work. And they're like, no, we can't.
It's like, you've been doing it for how long?
You control the media, so why can't you?
And this is the thing I had a problem, too, is, like, in the first one, they had the exact same shootout at the border.
Oh yeah, very similar.
And they drive away, and the guy goes, and the girl goes, this is going to be on the front page of every newspaper in the world. And they went, this won't even make the headlines in El Paso. Right? Yeah. So that's not going to make the headlines, but now this is going to be on the news.
Yeah, I don't know how that got out so quick.
Fox News and CNN. And I'm like, how is that there? That's on the news, but you had a shootout at the border and killed a whole group of people, but that didn't make
super fast too. I'm not really quite sure, but it seemed like by the time they made it back to their base, like the whole world knew that they got killed.
Yeah, their eyes were killed by Americans. And
that's another thing. Like, who told that they did that too? I mean, I don't know. There's just some loopholes, which is why we kind of scored it the way we did. Yeah. We were being critical, as typical. All right, we don't like giving free passes to films. As you can probably tell from most of our ratings are usually 3s. We've given a few 4s. And 5 for Black Panther! But aside from that, mostly 3s, right? Mostly 3s, 3.5s. We're pretty critical on the films because it's your guys' money and our money. Yeah. So we want you to spend it well, wisely. So I think that pretty much wraps it up, though, for spoilers. Yeah. On Sicario 2. Once again, thank you for all the love out there that you guys have been giving us. We appreciate it. We'll keep the reviews coming so you guys have something to watch.
Yes.
Don't forget to like,
comment,
and subscribe.
Share it to everybody down there.
For more ad reviews.
Share it.
And we're out.